Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new on my channel, then welcome. So first things first, Happy New Year! We are in 2018. I feel like 2017 flew past so quickly. I hope you guys had an amazing holiday. I hope the New Year's Eve was spectacular, memorable, all those good things, and that your new year has started off great. So today's video is going to be a recap on all the products that I loved in the year of 2017. As was the case in my previous video about the yearly favorites, which was my favorites from 2016. The products that I'm talking about today aren't necessarily new launches that came out in 2017. I mean, some of them are, but not all of them. I am incorporating all of the products that I discovered in 2017, that I fell in love with, and that I have been using relentlessly. And the products that I'm also talking about today aren't products that I have been using throughout 2017. A lot of the products I discovered somewhat towards the end of the year, but I still love them, so you know, I think it counts. Anyway, so without further ado, let's jump into the video. Okay, so let's get the most obvious one out of the way. This is one of my biggest yearly favorites of 2017. If you have been keeping up with my recent videos, you might have noticed that I use this palette in so many of my tutorials. This palette is something absolutely incredible, but I don't want to get too into detail because I have talked about this palette so many times. I feel like I'm, you know, talking you guys to death about this palette. It's just that this palette is so amazing because it does everything that I want it to do. It is pigmented, it is creamy, it is blendable. The color selection in the palette is so vast that you can create all kinds of different looks that you want to create. In this palette, literally, I personally have all the shades that I need. They're just stunning, aren't they? They're just stunning. They talk to me on a different level. Those really beautiful coppery and cranberry shades, and the little pinks up there, and these brownie shades. Of course, you know, I'm a warm and neutral kind of gal, so this section is all for me. And those pops of colors and everything about this palette, I love, absolutely love. So if you haven't got your hands on this one yet, I truly recommend that you do, because it really is as good as people say. It's 100% worth the hype. It's just an overall perfect palette, in my opinion. So that is why I have not been able to get around this one. I will try to incorporate more palettes, but you will definitely see me using this as well. Next up is another eyeshadow palette, and this one deserves a huge honorable mention as well. This is one of my absolute favorite eyeshadow palettes. I haven't been using it so much on camera, but I have been using it every single day off camera. It is the Violet Voss and Laura Lee palette. Sorry, it's a bit dirty. I used it today as well. It's what I have on my eyes, and honestly, I have really only one eyeshadow. It's called Bridges, and on my brow bone and in my inner corners I have Basic and Sugar. So that is all I have on my eyes. It has so many beautiful warm shades and also some pops of color in there. I love this palette so much. I have been digging into this with a passion. So that is why it is not in the newest condition anymore. The shades in here are also extremely pigmented. They are so creamy and buttery, and they again blend effortlessly on the eyes. It feels like the eyeshadows almost blend themselves, and they last on the eyes a crazy amount of time. So again, I cannot say anything. It's a spectacular palette. The only reason why I haven't included this in my videos all that much is because I feel like more people have the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill palette or the Tarte palette, and you know, those more kind of really hyped up palettes, even though this was pretty up there as well. For some reason I have the feeling that not too many people have this, so I try not to use it too much on camera, but it is one of my die-hard favorites. So yeah, that is why it's in this video today. Now this next product is something that I discovered more so towards the end of the year, and I haven't actually been using it more than maybe a couple of months. I think it is officially my favorite primer currently. It is the Catrice Prime and Fine Pore-Refining Anti-Shine Base. Now I know that it might sound a bit strange given that this is a mattifying primer and I have a slightly more dehydrated skin. You know, those two things don't really mix all that well. But I seriously have to give it to this primer because it isn't drying whatsoever, and it isn't too mattifying in my opinion either. It just minimizes pores like crazy. I mean, I don't really have a huge issue when it comes to pores. I don't have very enlarged pores or anything like that, but I have noticed that when I wear this primer, my skin looks almost like porcelain. It's so smooth and silky looking. It's really something else. And Catrice is a very affordable drugstore brand, so again, huge bonus in that department as well. So if you are struggling with enlarged pores, I think you would really love this. Now let's move on to concealers. I first want to give a quick mention to the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. This isn't for the reason that it is a great under eye concealer, which I mean, I'm sure it is, but I just honestly don't even wear it like that. I use this solely on my eyes to act as a primer for the eyeshadows, and this has been doing such a splendid job that I basically haven't been using my MAC Soft Ochre paint pot at all, which is a miracle because I used to love that thing so much. This doesn't dry out my eyelids the way that the MAC paint pot does. This is much more hydrating. It covers everything up perfectly, all of my veins, all the discoloration, and it's such a great base for the eyeshadows as well. Eyeshadows look vibrant and they stay in place the whole day. I will definitely keep using this as a great eye primer. And now moving on to liquid concealers, which I do actually put underneath my eyes. The first one that I have to give a shout out to is Tarte Shape Tape. This is probably in everyone's yearly favorites video, but this really is an out of this world concealer, and it's so creamy, it blends easily, it doesn't look heavy or cakey underneath the eyes, but it covers so well. I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times already, but this really is an amazing concealer. And the other liquid concealer that also deserves a mention is the Catrice Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer, which is the other favorite besides Tarte Shape Tape. If I'm not using Tarte Shape Tape, I'm using this, or I do the combo with the Maybelline and the Wet n Wild Photo Focus concealer. But that combo is also something that I very recently discovered, so I didn't think it would be just to add them in this video. I have gone through so many of these already. They are creamy and they are hydrating and they cover so well underneath the eyes as well, and they stay in place all day. The only thing is that they have a kind of a funky scent to them, but you get used to them so quickly. I don't even notice the scent when applying this. I did used to notice it immensely when I first started using them, but now I don't even pay any attention. So yeah, thankfully the scent doesn't linger and you won't even notice it at one point. So this is one of the great affordable options if you do not want to splurge on Tarte Shape Tape. You might want to go and try out this. This video wouldn't be complete if I didn't include... Yep. I really shouldn't stop on these foundations for too long because, yeah, I think I have said plenty about these already. Nothing can compete with those. The coverage, the finish, the longevity. There is no competition, be it high-end, be it luxury, be it other drugstore foundations. Nothing can compete with this in my books, so it's the best. Even though the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation is my holy grail, I do need to give this a shout out as well. It's the NARS Sheer Glow Foundation. This foundation isn't a recent release by any means. It has been out there for several years, but I just got my hands on it last year. Well, I was lucky enough to get my hands on it finally last year, so that is why it's in the video today. This from the high-end side is probably, or has probably become my absolute favorite foundation. It looks great, it covers really well, and it lasts on the face a really good amount of time. The only reason why I think that this isn't as good as the Catrice one is because it doesn't cover quite as well. It covers really well, don't get me wrong, but there's just something miraculous about the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage. Okay, this one I'm gonna go over really quickly because it's not really something too interesting, but I do want to say that this has been my favorite when it comes to eyelash adhesives, and I do have to use them quite often since, you know, you know the lash situation. And it is the Kiss Striplash adhesive with aloe vera. This is again a drugstore product, and I really love this because this is the only eyelash adhesive that hasn't irritated my eyes, and my eye situation is not the best at the moment, so everything that is kind and sensitive to my eyes it's good. So that is why I have to mention this. I use it every single time I apply falsies. This keeps my lashes in place all day long. It doesn't irritate my eyes, as I said, and it is also really easy to apply because of the brush applicator. So yeah, if you are someone who is a false eyelash junkie like me and you love to wear them but you also have sensitive eyes like me, then I'd say this is a really good option because this is formaldehyde free and it is latex free. So it is absolutely amazing. I have to confess that I don't know 100% if this product came out in 2017 or earlier already, but again, I got my hands on it last year, so that is why it's in the video. Okay, I have to stop saying that. Is the Wet n Wild Megaglo highlighting powder in the shade Precious Petals. I honestly didn't know what to choose or which highlighter to bring out because I love all of my highlighters, so that is why I didn't really know which one to choose. But because this was the latest addition to my collection and it blew me away with its metallic finish and its creamy consistency and just the kind of sheen that is in this highlight, that it's not sparkly or glittery or anything like that. It is just pure sheen and it is so metallic and reflective. That's what you can see on my cheeks. I felt this was the one to, you know, show you guys. If you haven't tried this yet, I believe this is like around $4 or something in the States. It's really, really affordable and it's so crazy good. I don't even know how they do it. I don't know what kind of magic is in this, but it is amazing. And if you are someone who likes a very bold highlight, then you will not be disappointed by this one. Okay, we are moving on to bronzers. You guys will not be surprised when you see those because I'm so predictable. The first one, of course, the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Bronzer. I was so happy when I finally got it last year, and I have been using it non-stop ever since I did, and I plan on using it non-stop because this is the most beautiful bronzer that I have ever worn. I try so hard and I constantly keep pushing myself to dig out some of the other bronzers in my collection and force myself to use those, but every single time I do, I just feel like something is amiss. It doesn't quite look as good and it doesn't quite feel as good as this one does. The application and the finish and the blendability and all that, this is just at the top. I have yet to find a better bronzer, and that is why I won't let this go. I'm sorry if you are already sick of this and seeing it in every single one of my tutorials. I mean, just look at it. Look, it looks so creamy and buttery, and oh my god, the smell of this is just divine. It is tropical paradise in a little compact. If you haven't tried this yet, I really don't know what you're waiting for because this will blow your socks off, seriously. And now for the second bronzer, which again shouldn't really come as a surprise, the Givenchy Healthy Glow Powder in the shade number 2 is my absolute favorite as well. I couldn't finish a makeup look without it. I mean, of course, if I'm in a massive hurry and I don't have time to perfect my makeup to the last detail, I tend to skip it. Usually my makeup isn't complete without this. You can see what I've done to this thing. There used to be a star in there in the middle and it's completely gone now. Yeah, I cannot really live without it. And it's so funny because when I first looked at it in the store and I was contemplating on buying it, I decided against it because I thought it looked too orange when I was swatching it on my hand and it didn't look all that great, and I thought, oh my god, it's going to make me look like an Oompa Loompa. I cannot buy this, and I didn't. And then I don't even know how many months passed, but something clicked in my head and I said, okay, I really want to try it on the face as well because, you know, it's just not fair to judge a product based on a hand swatch. It just isn't fair. So I bought it and I couldn't be happier. I think this is one of the best purchases that I have ever made when it comes to makeup. This makes everything look so beautiful. It really tops everything off and it's just the perfect finishing touch. See? See? It's just, I have it mixed in there with the butter bronzer and the highlighter, and it just mushes everything together, and it blends the highlight and the bronzer together, and that is the reason why I love it so much. It just makes everything look seamless and really, really warms up the face as well. So it's perfection. It's perfection. I swear by this. I'm quickly going to brush over this one because you have seen me use this so many times in my videos, and you guys already know that I love this. My favorite setting spray of 2017 is the Milani Make It Last setting spray. Once you apply it on the face, it's this refreshing, nice mist, and it's so fine, and it just sets everything in place beautifully, but it also makes the skin radiant and hydrated, which I love about this. Even though I believe it has alcohol in there, which I think is the necessary ingredient for the makeup to actually last on your face and, you know, kind of lock in place, I do not feel that this is drying whatsoever. It feels refreshing and hydrating. So I am completely head over heels in love with this. And last but not the least, OFRA liquid lipsticks have been my true favorites. Once I discovered them, I realized that the formula on OFRA's liquid lipsticks is my favorite. I'm wearing, which one, where is it? I'm wearing Sao Paulo on my lips right now, and I think it is my favorite peachy nude liquid lipstick that I own. Well, okay, now that I got the Jouer mini liquid lipstick in Naked as well, that one is, you know, it's kind of a competition in there, but still at the moment this is at the top. I also have 3 other shades, Bel Air, Mocha and Aries. And I love all of them. They are opaque, they are creamy, they last on the lips really nicely, and when they start wearing off, they don't start wearing off in an ugly way. They fade off nicely and evenly. At least the nude shades do. Again, if you haven't tried the OFRA liquid lipsticks, just try one. Just try and see if you like them. I know that I definitely need to get myself some more. And that's it, guys. Those were my yearly favorites. I know there weren't too many in there. I just brought out the utmost favorites that I had, and hopefully you guys found it interesting. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And yeah, hopefully I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! Moving on to liquid eyeliners, which I actually do use underneath my eyes. And now moving on to liquid eyeliners, which I actually do. Did I just say eyeliners? Oh my god. And now moving on to liquid. I also need to mention I'm sure you have heard this 1,000 times already, but it's a really good I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times already, but it really is a very, very good, oh my god.